Segment Efes Nikud Arba Nikud He. Explanation. The simple Shava, Part 1. Now we come to the part of the unit where we will formally introduce the last vowel, the Shava. The Shava will either produce a small sound, this is called a vocal Shava, or else a Shava will produce no sound at all, called a silent Shava. What makes the difference is the sort of syllable in which the Shava appears. When it is vocal, the Shava will produce the small sound indicated by the letter E in the word current, current, or the letter A in the word above, above, or the letter O in the word canon, canon. Just as these various vowels, E, A, and O, in English words, produce similar sounds, in the same way the Shava serves various vowel classes as the shortest vowel in each class. Let's now take a look at 2 of 3 principles that make it easier to recognize when a Shava should be vocal, emitting a small sound. The first principle indicating when a Shava should be vocal is this: when the Shava appears as the first vowel in the word. Take a look at the 5 words you see presented below and notice in each where the Shava appears. Devarim, Devarim. Yehuda, Yehuda. Melachim, Melachim. Lemuel, Lemuel. Gevul, Gevul. In each case, it was in the first syllable that the Shava occurred, and for that reason you heard a small sound corresponding to the Shava, the in Devarim, the in Yehuda, and so forth. Incidentally, the transliteration that you find immediately below each of these Hebrew words includes hyphens to suggest where the syllable division will occur. We'll talk about syllabification more fully in a later segment. Now let's turn to the second principle indicating when a Shava will be vocal. It is this: when there are 2 adjacent Shava vowels, the second in the pair will be vocal. The first will be silent. So notice this collection of words, each of which presents 2 Shava vowels adjacent to each other. As you hear them pronounced and study the transliteration, notice that the first of the pair is silent, but the second in the pair is vocal. Yim tsa'u, Yim tsa'u. Yis paru, Yis paru. Yiz karu, Yiz karu. Yim lechu, Yim lechu. Lach mecha, Lach mecha. When it's necessary to present the transliteration of a word, and this word includes a silent Shava, we do not represent this silent Shava in the transliteration. Now there's a certain circumstance where there are actually 2 Shava vowels adjacent to each other, but you might not recognize it as such initially. It's this: when there's a consonant with a strong dagesh, a dagesh forte, and following that consonant with a dagesh is a Shava, since the dagesh forte has the effect of doubling that consonant, it then has the effect of doubling the Shava as well. So, if we have the consonant Zayin with a dagesh in it, and we know that it is a doubling dagesh, and that is followed by a shava that actually has the value of zayin shava, and then a second zayin and a second shava. Here we have the situation of two adjacent shavas, the first of which is silent and the second of which is vocal. Now that is the understanding behind the reason for always vocalizing any shava that follows a consonant with a strong dagesh. You'll see some examples in this next table. Notice in particular which consonant has a dagesh in it, followed by a shava, and as you hear it pronounced, you will be able to hear that shava as a weak, but a distinct vowel. The first word is yechazaku. Yechazaku. Are you hearing the little z for the zayin dagesh shava? Yechazaku. The next word is yeduberu. Yeduberu. The third, diberu. Diberu. The fourth, siperu. Siperu. And the last, mesaperim. Mesaperim. On rare occasions, you'll encounter a double shava that occurs at the end of a word. Now, this is a situation when both shava vowels will be silent. You can see that borne out in the transliteration from these 5 words. Incidentally, there are a couple of consonants that have not yet been formally introduced that appear in this collection. One is the letter shin, which produces the sh sound, and the last letter of the alphabet, tav, which produces a t sound. The first word is pronounced vayevk. Vayevk. Notice that the v sound of veit and the k sound of the final kaf, both of which consonants are followed by the shava vowel. These two sounds just occur next to each other. Vayevk. It's not unlike the P and T sound that are produced with the past tense verb in English, stopped. Stopped. You hear the P and the T actually representing an ED in English, but you hear those adjacent to each other with no vowel between. The second Hebrew word is nerd. Nerd. The third, vayesht. Vayesht. The fourth, ahavt. Ahavt. And finally, nafalt. Nafalt. The last observation we need to point out in this particular segment has to do with those times when a kaf appears as the last consonant of a word and is followed by a shava. When you see a final kaf, a kaf sofit, followed by a shava, this is always a silent shava. So for example, in the word elech, elech, you notice no vocalized sound following the final kaf.